Okay, so we're just getting straight into it. Now, I've already done my eyebrows using the brow cream as well as the brow fixing gel on the eyebrows. And next, I'm going to basically prep my eyes using the NYX eyeshadow base all over the lid and as far as high as I can take it without obviously touching the eyebrows. Sorry about the quality of the video there. I don't know what happened, but it does improve as you go along and things will be a lot more visible. My camera was playing up, so my apologies. And just to let you know, I've already prepped and primed my skin as well. I use the mattifying primer from Primark. And it is lovely, and I'll speak more about that later on in the video, but I've already prepped my skin using that, as well as, yeah, look at my face, yikes. And I'll also use the skin perfecting primer as well. Now what I'm doing is just using my blotting powder from MAC in deep dark, and I'm just blotting that around the lid area because I've got large eyes, so the skin folds in and it can hold moisture there, so I use that to dry my face. And now I'm going to color correct using the LA Girl color corrector in orange. Although it does say orange, it's actually more red. You do have to be kind of careful with this because otherwise it can show up quite a lot, especially if you are using a light foundation, a heavier foundation, a full coverage foundation. It's great, but the lighter foundations, the red can seep through. Now I'm using my fingers to dab that in and push it into the skin. I find that that's a lot better than using a beauty blender or even a brush, because the warmth from my fingers allows me to be able to spread the product much more evenly around the skin tone on my skin, and it blends in and to give a much smoother look. So that's why I use my fingers. Yep, now we're all ready. And now I'm going to dip into my Morphe 35W. I think that's the one that it is, but I'll put it on the description box. And I'm using the flesh colored color. And I know it doesn't look as if it's flesh colored in that, but it really is in reality. That color is really, really lovely. It blends in, gives a smooth finish, and I'm just using that as a base. I'm using it all over the lid and concentrating quite a lot on the crease area and above, just to give a smooth base all over the eye. And I'm just blending it in using one of the Morphe brushes from the red range. And now I'm dipping back into the same palette using the orange color to bring in a bit more warmth on my eye. I'm concentrating on the eyelid itself and the crease area, and then I'm going to bring it up just a tiny bit higher so that there's more warmth in there, because I intend to use darker colors, so I need that to blend in seamlessly. So that's what I'm doing. Now the brush I'm using is from Elf. And it's one of their basic eye brushes, and I think it was something like £2. So, but it hasn't got a name and I can't remember it, I'm afraid. Now I'm dipping into the smoky eye palette from Primark using the darkest shade, which is the black, and I'm concentrating on the outer edge of the eye, as well as getting as close as possible to the lashes and also the crease area. And eventually what I'll do is I'll mix that on, and I'm using another brush from Elf Cosmetics, and again, they're just one of the basic eye brushes. So now I'm going to use a smaller detail brush from Morphe from the red range, which is a really, really good range that I bought, and I think I only paid £15 for it. And it has about 6 brushes, 3 for the face and 3 for the eye. So I'm using that more detailed brush to give a more precise look, concentrating around the lid area. Now going back into the smoky palette, I'm going to use the next color up, which is like a rosy but dark rosy color, and I'm just putting that on the eyelid, and you can see my face. No, because the color payoff is not there at all. It is very, very patchy, and it didn't come off, and I didn't actually get anything to show the color at all. So the pigment is really not there. I had to do several coats of this around the eye, and I'm sorry that I'm right at the edge of the camera there so you can't see it, but that's what I use on the main part of the eyelid. Now moving on to the main part, which is foundation. Yikes! Woo! Oh god, this is the darkest shade I could do. and the shade is called a chestnut, and I don't know which chestnut that we're looking at, but well, that wasn't a very dark chestnut. It is white, it's chalky, it is, oh lordy, but I decided not to cheat, so I applied it all over my face, and look how ghostly I am. I look like a ghost. It is Halloween after all. Ooh, look at that. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm now just highlighting using a concealer from LA Girl, which I use all the time with any foundation that I have. I dare not have used the one I found from Primark. No, I wasn't that brave. So I'm using that all over my face, underneath the eyes, around the area where I need to highlight and bring more color. Just having a little bit of fun there with some looking into the camera. But I'm just now going to pat that in and blend it in using my Beauty Blender dupe. Now that that's been done, yeah, still looking like a ghost. I'm going to use my powders underneath the eye to press in and hold the color that I used for the highlighting, and I'm just setting everything with these powders. It's a mixture of two powders. It's the Sacha Buttercup powder as well as the Ben Nye loose powder in the color Sienna. Sienna is a bit too red, and I found that the Buttercup is a bit too yellow, so when I mix the two together, it's a much smoother look. Now I'm going to bring in some desperately needed color back into my face using the L'Oreal True Match powder in the color 10W. I'm laughing because I'm looking so white, but I'll work with it. Yeah, look at that, a bit more color. Thank God for that, because I had to go out after this and be in public, so it was a bit of a scary one. So I've done that, and now I'm using an oldie but goodie, which is the CoverGirl Queen collection bronzer in the color Ebony, and I'm using that around the hairline to again bring in more color, more warmth. It's got a touch of red to it. I love it. It is brilliant for just bringing in warmth, and I had to blend that in for quite some time to get more color in, but as you can see, it's because the foundation itself was so wrong, so white, so patchy. Oh my god, no. So I've done that now anyway, so I'm moving on to the it's called the Master Contour Palette from Primark, and I'm using the darkest shade, which is Cocoa, around the cheek area and my face. I'm making that because it is very, very powdery. You waste a lot of the products because it's just, look, as you can see, not much of a color payoff there. Perhaps it would have looked a lot better if the foundation had been the right shade in the first place, but again, I had to work with that and dip it in quite a few times before I could get any kind of color payoff to do my contour. And now that the contour has been done as best as I can, I'm using the same brush, which is my Zohiva brush, and it is lovely. Love it, love Zohiva brushes, and I'm using that to contour my nose. Now that that's done, I'm now going to go back into the smoky eye palette using again the darkest shade, which is the black. I'm using that underneath the eye area to sort of make the look more cohesive and bring the two together for the top lid as well as the lower lid. And just to say that I've already put in the false eyelashes, which were from Primark. They were £1 and they were the natural one. I did that off camera. My first time using eyelashes. It wasn't bad at all, actually. I was very proud of myself. And I've also put their eyeliner as well, liquid eyeliner, which is only £1. And underneath that, I'm using it, going back into the Morphe palette, again using the same flesh colored tone to bring in a bit more warmth and make it a more gradient look, or gradient look I should say, underneath the eyes, so you don't get the sharp black just underneath the eyes. So I'm bringing a bit more warmth in using an old brush, just a basic brush, to bring to do that. And I'm wondering if I'm quite happy with that. Not quite, so I'm doing that again, just doing the edges. And once that's done, I'm using the mascara. This is a Maybelline mascara. I did buy a mascara from Primark, but unfortunately it was in brown. It would never have worked, so I'm using a Maybelline Colossal mascara on my eyes. Love Maybelline, nice and cheap, and they are brilliant. And this is the blusher that I'm using from Primark. The color I believe is either Rouge or Kaluha, but I'm not quite too sure because it isn't obvious as to what the name of the color is, so I'm using that to bring more warmth into my cheeks. I had to apply it several times. It is very, very powdery. Again, you waste a lot of the product, but it is quite understated as well. So if you're looking for an understated look, you could probably, with a bit of work, go and use this. Now, the highlighter I've decided to use is from the palette, the contour palette from Primark. I'm using the lightest shade, which is the highlighter, but it is a bit extreme. Yikes, that's why I'm making that face. So it is a bit extreme and a bit chalky and a bit white, so I decided to tone it down a bit by using the brush I'd used earlier to apply my L'Oreal True Match foundation. I'm just using that to bring a bit more warmth and tone it down a bit. Now I'm lining my lips with a lip pencil from Primark. I am very happy with their lip pencils. I think this is in the color Burgundy. There is no name on the pencil at all, but I think it's called Burgundy. And now that I've lined up my lips, I'm using the first of two colors. This is the super matte lip color, and it's in the color Kiki, which is, I believe is color number 4, but the name of the color is Kiki, and I'm using that all along the outer edges of my lips, top and bottom, and I'm going to create an ombre effect. Just applying that and being very, very careful, because with matte lipsticks or lip colors, you never know how quickly they're going to dry, and some of them can stay on like literally like a tattoo. So you have to be very careful when you're applying it. Well, I have to be anyway. I often make a mistake, one little move there, and I get it wrong. So that's why I'm doing that very, very carefully to make sure I don't get it on the outer edges of my lips, which will then be a nightmare to take off. Having done that, I'm now going to apply the lighter shade, which has no name but is color number 8, and I'm applying that on the inner corner, on the inner part of the lips, and I'm going to create an ombre effect very shortly. Okay, now I'm just sort of mixing the colors to get it more gradient look. That's looking a bit extreme as I'm making that face there, and I'm just mixing the two colors so that everything looks smooth, and well, so that it all looks right. And I'm not too sure if I'm too happy with that, so I'm going to apply a bit more color. Yeah, it needs a bit more work, so I think I'm going to apply another more of color, especially on the edge of the lip, that area, just smoothing everything through, and here we go. I'm just going to apply more color, so I'm bringing that in so that the ombre effect looks a bit smoother, because the edge was looking a bit too dark, and yep, that's better. So much happier with that look. Relief, as I am nearly done. And now moving on to the part that I love the most. I don't know why. Do you know what? I saw other people doing this, and now I understand why I love it, struggling with to undo the packaging. And what I'm using now is the finishing setting spray from Urban Decay, the all-nighter spray, and I'm spraying that liberally all over the face, blowing some air onto my face. It is actually a fantastic feeling when your face is cool after you sprayed and then you blow some air. It does make it look very, very nice. It feels very nice as well. I love that feeling. And here you go, this is the finished look, and voila. So this is the final look. It was a bit of a struggle with some of the items. Oh, where should I start? First of all, let's go for the smoky eye palette. Would I buy this again? No. Why not? Because the black was not black enough. It's not pigmented enough. It was a struggle to even get this color to stay on the eyes, or to get it to show any color at all. You probably can't tell. This is the best that I can do. It's not pigmented at all, and the black turns out, as you start sort of mixing it at the end, at the edge, it turns grey rather than black. So I wouldn't bother with it at all. It's a no for the palette. What else would I leave? Would leave the contour palette itself, because I used this particular shade here as a highlighter, and as you probably saw there, I had to tone it down because it just looked like a beacon beaming into space, so there was no way I could use that. And the darkest shade, which is the cocoa, that one is extremely powdery. I just had to, no, not worth it. Leave that one. I wouldn't bother buying that at all. The blusher is not too bad at all. It's very, very understated, so you could probably, and it's also powdery, so you could probably get away with that. Maybe I'll think about the blusher itself. I didn't use the mascara because it was brown, and I didn't think that that would work out at all. And to be honest, the actual pencils themselves, the eye pencils, which I ended up not using, I've forgotten, but then again, let's just test it out and see how smooth they are. So these actually, the pencils themselves would actually be great to use. So I would use the eye pencils, that there were 2 in the packet for £1. Those I would use. The gel for the eyebrows, so the eyebrow cream, no. First of all, I couldn't get it out of the packaging properly, and then I had to take it apart, and it was very dry. It wasn't creamy. No, absolutely not. The actual fixing gel itself, there wasn't much to sing about at all. I wouldn't bother with that either. The next item I would definitely, absolutely definitely go for would be the mattifying primer. This one here, £5. I would definitely buy this because I'm not sure how it would work out on a very, very hot day, but it was very smoothing. It left the face feeling really, really soft. I really liked the texture of the primer. It came out like a lotion. So I would definitely buy the primer. It's worth buying. And what else would I buy? The liquid lipsticks, the super matte lipstick. Oh, absolutely, 150%. I would actually go and buy these, and I would definitely go back and buy these. These are brilliant. They stay put, they don't go anywhere, they go dry out, but they don't suck the life out of your lips at all. I am so amazed. These I would buy. The absolute no and no way in hell would I ever go back and buy that would have been the foundation. Did you see that? I looked like a ghost. It was, I had a lot of work to do. I had to actually use this particular finishing powder here, which is my L'Oreal matte, True Match powder. I can't talk. I'd even forgotten what it was. So I've got this one here in a shade 10W, 10 warm. That's what I had to use to try and get even a tiny bit of color back into my face. It was absolutely horrific. It is the darkest shade that they do, which is called chestnut. You would have to be about 3 shades lighter than me in order to be able to carry off that chestnut. No. As to how it feels, actually, it does feel mattifying. So I'll give it that. It does feel semi-matte. It doesn't feel dried out at all. It feels as if it's very, very light, and I've forgotten completely what that I had that foundation on. I really like the texture of it. I like how it sits on the face, and literally you forget that it's there, and it's super light. That I do get. The color, however, was just completely and utterly off. So it will be a no. So my conclusion, trying these out, it is a challenge. You do discover new products, and there are others where you just think, hell to the no, we're never ever going back to that. But I am so pleased that I actually did this challenge. The lips, the actual lip pencils, I'm very happy with. I've bought them before and I love them, and they're brilliant actually. But I am so pleased that I actually tried this challenge, because now I've discovered the liquid lipsticks, and they are definitely worth buying, and I am going to go back as usual and buy some more. But I hope that you found today's video useful, and if you did like it, thumbs up, and I'll talk to you soon.